The cat objected, and Sean retired temporarily from the merrymaking, bloody-eared but unbowed. Nine began to dance in her purple dress and black lace stockings, her dark curls bouncing and her coloured beads flying. She wore silver bracelets too. They jangled when she raised her arms, and the black shawl that swung out and made the candles flicker. Mae gen ni dipyn o du bach dwt ar gwynt i'r drws mor bore. Heidi ho, heidi ho, ar gwynt i'r drws bob bore, sang the singers, and so sang Nine in a high quivering voice. The Lloyds thought it the funniest thing they had ever seen, and clutching their sides they rolled on the floor, gasping and giggling. Gwyn smiled, but he did not laugh. There was something strange, almost magical about the tall figure spinning in the candlelight. Down in the field, Gwyn's father heard the music. For a moment he paused and listened while his cows, eager to be milked, ambled on up the farmyard. Mr. Griffith regarded the mountain, rising dark and bare beside the house, and remembered his daughter. When the boys had breath left, neither for dancing nor laughter, Mrs. Griffith tucked the record player away in its corner, stood up and removed her apron. Then she patted her hair, smoothed her dress, and said rather quiet and coy, "Tea will be here today, boys." And she walked across the passage and opened the door to the front room. Gwyn was perplexed. Teas? Even fairly smart teas with relations were always in the kitchen these days. He moved uncertainly towards the open door and looked in. White cloth had been laid on the long oak table, so white it almost hurt his eyes, and upon the cloth the best blue china, red napkins, plates piled with brightly wrapped biscuits, sugar mice and chocolate pigs, and there were crisps, popcorn, and cakes with coloured icing on on a silvered stand. There were crackers too, decorated with gold and silver paper. And in the centre of the table, a magnificent green jelly rising above a sea of ice cream. The Lloyds crowded into the doorway beside Gwyn and gazed at the splendid spread. Gwyn felt so proud. "Oh, ma'am," he breathed. "Oh, ma'am." Then Gareth and Sean rushed past him and drew out their chairs, exclaiming, "Gwyn, Gwyn, come on, let's start. We're starving." "It's the grandest birthday table I've ever seen," said Alan. "Our mam has never done anything like that." "Nor has his until today," said Nine. "It was about time." Gwyn took his place at the head of the table, and they began. There was much chatter and some laughter. No one heard Mr. Griffith coming from the milking and going upstairs. And Mrs. Griffiths, happy and gratified, did not notice her husband's boots behind the back door, nor his coat upon the hook. But when she went into the kitchen to fetch the birthday cake, the cake was huge and white with chocolate windows and silver banners, and on each of the 9 towers a flaming candle. "Turn out the lights," cried Gareth, and he sprang to the switch, plunging the party into a cosy candlelight again. "Blow out the candles, Gwyn, and wish," commanded Sean. Gwyn drew a deep breath and then paused. "Let's cut the cake and leave the candles," he said. "They look so good. Let's leave them until they die." They were still alight when Mr. Griffith came downstairs again. Crackers were banging, and no one heard feet upon the tiled kitchen floor, tapping his unfamiliar shoes. When the door opened, the tiny flames glowed fiercely for a moment and then died. Except for the white shirt Mr. Griffiths was wearing, entirely in black, he stared at the table in cold disbelief. The shock of the electric lights jolts the party out of its homely cheerfulness. The birthday table looked spoiled and untidy. Someone had spilt orange juice on the white cloth. "What's this? Celebrating, are we?" Mr. Griffith's mouth was tight, his face white with displeasure. Sean was still wearing the spectacle mask, and his brothers began to giggle. He did resemble Mr. Griffiths.